All right, let's jump right into what is literally the most epic road trip in human history. We're talking about God leading the Israelites out of Egypt and heading toward a lush new home. Picture this: massive golden pyramids, the vibrant glowing desert sands, and an entire nation of people finally stepping into freedom after years of brutal hardship. Today, our explainer is diving into Exodus chapter 13, and let me tell you, it is absolutely packed with action, profound ancient rituals, and some truly mind-blowing miracles. This wasn't just a casual, slow walk into the desert, It was a highly orchestrated, super energetic rescue mission. God is physically pulling his people out of the house of slavery and pointing them toward a completely new destiny. So buckle up, because we are going to explore the rules of the road, these amazing magical guides in the sky, and the deep, meaningful reasons behind every single step they took on this great escape.
So, can you imagine having to pack up absolutely everything you own in a massive, super big rush? Well, the Israelites had to leave so fast in the springtime, specifically in the month of Aviv, that they couldn't even wait for their daily bread to bake. Moses basically tells the people, hey, we are leaving today. There was zero time to let the yeast rise in their dough. They were literally grabbing their kneading troughs, throwing them on their shoulders, and just marching straight out into that warm desert sunset. It's such a powerful picture of urgency. I mean, when the moment of freedom finally hit, there was no hesitation. They had to be ready to move the exact second God said go.
And, this flat, crunched matzah, it became this amazing physical reminder of just how incredibly fast they had to escape. Moses actually gives them a very specific 3-step action plan to follow, not just for that day, but every single year. Step 1. Leave quickly in your minds by remembering the escape. Step 2. For 7 days, you got to eat matzah, which is this flat, unleavened bread. And Step 3. Throw out all the hametz, or yeast, from your entire territory. For a whole week, there shouldn't be a single fluffy loaf of bread anywhere in sight. Eating this super simple flatbread year after year, it serves as an interactive, tasty, and very crunchy history lesson. It physically connects them, and all their future generations, right back to those hasty, crazy conditions their ancestors felt on the night of the big rescue.
Now, God tells them they absolutely must remember the exact day they escaped. Why? Because faith requires intentional remembrance. Think about it. When God eventually brings them into the beautiful land of the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Hivites, and Jebusites, a land literally flowing with milk and honey, they are commanded to observe this festival. Because, let's be real, human beings are incredibly forgetful. When things get super comfortable in their new, lush home, it would be so easy to just forget about the dark days of slavery in Egypt and the miraculous power God used to save them. So the 7th day of this matzah eating week was designed to be a massive, joyful festival to Adonai. It's essentially a built-in, joyful alarm clock that goes off every single year to say, hey, don't forget the big rescue.
So here's the absolute crucial point: passing on the faith. God explicitly instructs the parents to tell these exciting rescue stories to keep the history alive for kids just like you. God totally knew that children are naturally curious, right? When a kid asks, why are we eating this weird flatbread? The parents were instructed to answer with a very specific, deeply personal quote. It is because of what Adonai did for me when I left Egypt. Do you catch how personal that is? It's not just dusty old history. It's a personal rescue story. The text even says this memory should serve as a sign on your hand and a reminder between your eyes. Basically, God's instructions, his Torah, should constantly be on their lips. Education and really vivid storytelling are hands down the absolute best tools to make sure the miracles of the past secure the faith of the future.
Okay, let's look at this really incredible act of gratitude called the principle of the first. Because God spared them during the final plague, everything that is first from the womb, both of humans and animals, belongs to him. Remember, during that terrifying 10th plague, when Pharaoh stubbornly refused to let the people go, all the firstborn in Egypt were lost. But the Israelites, they were miraculously protected. So, by dedicating their firstborn to God once they reach the Promised Land, they are making this giant, continuous thank you statement. It perfectly symbolizes that all life and all the amazing blessings of their new land ultimately come from God's strong hand.
But here is where the God of Israel is entirely different from all the surrounding ancient cultures. His way is all about love and protection. While the firstborn male animals, like sheep or cattle, belong to God as sacrifices, human sons were absolutely 100% not to be harmed. Never. Instead, the law required the parents to redeem their firstborn sons. And to redeem simply means to buy back or to provide a substitute. This is a massive theological theme. God always provides a way to deliver and protect his people through a special, loving substitute.
Let's see how this actually builds into the rules of the road.
really showing us that God values saving and protecting life. We just talked about human sons, but what about the working animals? The text gives a super specific example, the donkey. Now, a donkey was an unclean animal, so it definitely couldn't be sacrificed on an altar. So, to keep the donkey and still honor the principle of the first, a family would redeem the firstborn donkey by trading a lamb in its place. And if they chose not to redeem it, well, they couldn't use it. Whether we're talking about a firstborn son or a hardworking donkey, the huge overarching theme here is substitution. God's economy is all about redemption over sacrifice. It was a constant everyday reminder in their normal farming lives of their great rescue from Egypt.
Now, when it was finally time to actually march toward the beautiful land of the Canaanites, God made a very surprising choice about the map. I mean, you'd think that after centuries of slavery, God would take them on a straight, super fast line right to their new home, right? They had packed up from Sukkot, they set up camp at Etam right at the edge of the desert, and they were fully armed and ready to go. But here's the thing. The shortest physical distance on a map isn't always the smartest route for a newly freed people. God's GPS was calculating variables that the Israelites couldn't even see yet.
And this shows us the amazing moral of trusting the journey. God's guidance is deliberate, and it is incredibly loving. He took them on a roundabout route so they wouldn't see war and literally run back to Egypt. The short route, that was the coastal highway right through the land of the Philistines. Yes, it was direct, but it was heavily guarded and would mean immediate terrifying warfare. God completely understood the psychological state of his people. He knew that if this newly freed, totally inexperienced nation faced a brutal war right out of the gate, they would absolutely panic, change their minds, and try to run back to the slavery they just left. So God led them by a much longer route through the desert down by the Sea of Suf, or the Red Sea. It's such a powerful lesson. When the path in your life feels long or really unconventional, trust the journey. God is keeping you safe from battles you just aren't ready to fight yet.
Now picture this. Amidst all the crazy chaos of leaving Egypt quickly, baking the matzah, and trying to organize literally millions of people, Moses didn't forget a centuries-old oath. Generations earlier, the great patriarch Joseph had made the people of Israel swear an oath. He told them, "God will certainly remember you, and you are to carry my bones up with you, away from here." By carefully packing up Joseph's bones, Moses bridged the distant past to their brand new future. It's an unbelievable testament to honoring the past and proving that God's promises, even the ones that take hundreds of years to fulfill, are always kept.
And to keep them safe on this super long route, God provided these giant, friendly guides that never went away from the front of the people. Navigating a trackless, dangerous desert is scary, especially for a massive crowd with little kids and animals, so God didn't just hand them a map, he gave them his actual presence. During the blazing heat of the daytime, Adonai went ahead of them in a massive, towering column of cloud, providing shade and leading the way. And at night? Well, the desert gets incredibly cold and pitch dark, so that cloud totally transformed into a brilliant column of fire. It gave them warm light so they could safely travel by day or by night. These weren't scary phenomenons at all. They were like a comforting, safe hug from the sky. The text explicitly says neither the cloud by day nor the fire at night ever went away from the front of the people.
And just like that, following these amazing bright guides, they began their epic transition. They were moving from the sandy, exhausting desert straight toward a beautiful new home, an explosion of vivid green and flowing rivers. Guys, this is what it's all about. Leaving the dry, oppressive sands of Egyptian slavery to enter a land flowing with milk and honey. Every single rule, every piece of flat matzah, every dedicated firstborn, and every roundabout detour through the wilderness was designed with this lush destination in mind. God was completely transforming them from a group of oppressed slaves into a free, trusting nation that was ready to thrive in this incredible new environment.
So, as we wrap up this incredible explainer, I want you to really think about all the amazing miracles you've just learned and how you'll pass them on. We've seen how intentional remembrance, through simple things like eating unleavened bread, can preserve an entire nation's identity. We've seen how giving our absolute best through the principle of the first honors God's protection. We learned the beautiful truth of redemption over sacrifice and the deep, deep wisdom of trusting God's unconventional roundabout journeys. But most importantly, we've seen that God never leaves his people, guiding them so faithfully with the cloud and the fire. So the question bounces right back to you. What rescue stories will you remember? How are you going to keep the history of faith alive for the next generation?
Click the bell button, like, share, and subscribe.